Okay, let's just dive right in. Have you ever felt like you're just kind of boring? Well, today we're going to break down a surprisingly simple way to feel more interesting. And the secret, believe it or not, comes from the world of college admissions.
All right, first things first, let's set the scene. You know that feeling, right? That super awkward moment at a party when someone asks what you do for fun and just crickets? Your mind goes totally blank.
Now, the source material for this whole idea kicks off with a pretty bold claim. It's this quote right here. The author basically says that getting a personality is ridiculously easy. So, if that's true, why does it feel so impossible sometimes?
I mean, we've all been there. That question just hangs in the air. So, what are your hobbies? And poof, every single thing you've ever enjoyed just vanishes from your brain. You end up mumbling something lame about, watching TV or whatever.
And look, it's a totally normal feeling. As an adult, it's easy to feel boring. When we were kids, it was so much simpler, right? Your whole identity could just be the kid who loves Harry Potter and collects frog stuff, and everyone was like, cool. But as grown-ups, man, the pressure is on, and being interesting feels way more complicated.
So, what's the first thing we do? We Google it, right? We turn to the internet, and it's usually filled with advice that sounds good, but in reality, it doesn't help at all. Let's dig into why that typical advice just doesn't work.
You always see the same stuff. Just be yourself, go join a pottery class, read more books. But the problem is, that advice is either way too vague, what does be yourself even mean, or it's about stuff that doesn't really make you memorable. It just feels forced, like you're checking off boxes on some how to be interesting list.
The source material puts it pretty bluntly, and I love this quote. Be yourself. That's just extrovert propaganda. And it's so true. That advice is awesome if you're already a social butterfly who can just charm a room. But for the rest of us, it's like telling someone to just grow wings and fly. It's not helpful.
Okay, so if all the old advice is garbage, what's the answer? Well, this is where it gets interesting. The solution comes from a really surprising place, the super competitive, high-stakes world of elite college admissions. And it all starts by completely changing how we define personality.
So, I want you to forget everything you think you know about personality being some deep, unchangeable part of your soul. For our purposes today, personality is way simpler. It's just the first few standout, memorable things people think of when they think of you. That's it. It's not about who you are deep down, it's about what people remember about you.
Think about it like this. When I say Elon Musk, what words pop into your head? Probably something like rich, Twitter, eccentric, right? Boom. Those are his personality tags.
Or how about Adele? You immediately think what? British, amazing singer, maybe hilarious laugh. See? It's just a few clear, memorable traits that make up her whole public persona.
And this doesn't just work for celebrities. Think back to school. Remember that guy who came to the assembly with all the snakes and lizards? You probably have no idea what his name was, but you remember him as the snake guy. That was his spike. That was his personality.
And that brings us to the big idea, the spike method. This is a term college admissions officers use. They're looking at thousands of applications, and they're looking for someone who stands out. A spike is a deep, memorable interest that literally spikes off an applicant's profile. It makes them unforgettable. And here's the cool part. You can use that exact same trick in your own life.
Okay, so how do we actually do this? How do you build your own spike? The best part is, it's actually a super simple 3-step guide.
Step 1. Find something that you're genuinely curious about. And I mean anything. It doesn't matter how weird it is. Step 2. Dive in. Just learn about it until you know a little bit more than the average person. And step 3. This is the most important part. You actually have to talk about it when you meet new people.
And what's crazy is how fast this can happen. Let's take a seemingly boring topic like cleaning. If you just spend a month really getting into it, watching videos, reading articles, you'll pretty quickly know more than 99% of people. You basically become a subject matter expert, at least compared to everyone else.
And look at the difference this makes in a conversation. On the one hand, you have the dead-end convo. What do you do for fun? Not much, and it's over. But with a spike, I'm really into cleaning. That's so unexpected. It makes people ask, oh, really? Like what? And then you hit them with, want to know that dark truth about robot vacuums? Now you've got a real conversation going.
But let's be super clear about this. This spike is not your entire personality. You don't have to be the cleaning person 24/7. It's just a tool. It's an icebreaker. It's that interesting hook that gets your foot in the door and makes you memorable.
which then lets you have a normal, regular conversation.
Okay, but there is one final, absolutely critical rule to make this whole thing work. It's not enough to just have a spike. You have to know how to talk about it.
Your spike can be literally anything, but you must be able to explain it in a way that normal people can understand. So you could be a world-class Minecraft expert, but if you start rattling off a bunch of in-game jargon that no one gets, you're just going to lose them. The real trick is to explain your passion patiently, assuming the other person knows absolutely nothing.
I love this analogy. Your goal is to be Bill Nye the Science Guy, not a PhD scientist giving a lecture. A PhD scientist might use a ton of big words and jargon. It makes them sound smart, but it makes everyone else feel dumb and lost. But Bill Nye, he uses simple analogies. He breaks down complicated stuff so that the audience feels smart. That's what you want to do. Make other people feel included in your passion.
So, let's wrap this all up. What are the big takeaways here? First, personality isn't something you're just born with. It's something you can actively build. The easiest way to do that is to pick one niche interest to be your spike. Then, become the go-to person for that topic among your friends. And finally, and most importantly, share it in a way that's simple, engaging, and makes other people feel smart.
And that's pretty much the whole method. It's simple, you can start today, and it really works. So the only thing left to ask yourself is the question right here on the screen. What's your spike gonna be?